In this video, we are going to discuss about the digestive system. So here I am going to introduce you about digestive system. So as the name implies, digestive system, it is a system which is related to digestion and absorption of the food. So digestion is not completed until the digested food, the simpler substances which get digested by the digestive systems get absorbed. So the motto of the digestive system is to convert the complex substances that we eat as food into the simpler monomers or into the simpler substances which can be easily absorbed by the body and utilized by the body as such. So we cannot uh, utilize the nutrients in the form that we eat, like we eat the carbohydrate polymers, like monosaccharides, glycerols and fatty acids, like proteins in the form of long chains amino acids, but they cannot be absorbed and utilized by the body as such. So they has to be broken down into the simpler substances, so that that particular function is performed by the digestive system. But still, the motto is to utilize these substances by the body. So the utilization process starts by the absorption. So therefore the absorption is the key process in the digestion process. So we can say the digestion is not completed until the digested substance get absorbed by the small intestine. So digestion is a catabolic process. Why it is catabolic process? Because here we are breaking the complex substances into the simpler ones. So just because of the breaking down of the complex substances into the simpler forms, the process is the known as catabolic process. So digestion is a catabolic process in which large complex molecules like carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acid, these all are the components of food which are broken down into simpler monomers like monosaccharides, glycerol, fatty acids, amino acids and nucleotides, which can be easily absorbed by the body. So the whole motto of the digestion is to convert the complex substances that we eat as food into the simpler monomer substances which can be easily absorbed by the body and utilized for different purposes in the body. Like carbohydrates are consumed and utilized in the body for energy production, proteins for body building, vitamins and minerals as coenzymes. So all have a different purpose in the body, but they can serve their function only and only when they get absorbed in the body by the process of digestion. So forms of digestion, there are two forms of digestion, mechanical and chemical. So when these complex substances are broken down only physically they are broken down into the smaller pieces, then the process is known as mechanical digestion, that is done by our teeth, saliva. By the help of our teeth we masticate and we chew the food uh, into the simpler physical forms only. So here only the physical change is going to happen in the mechanical form of digestion. So the food is simply broken down into smaller pieces and mixed with digestive juices secreted in the body without any chemical change. So here only physical change is going to happen. This is known as the mechanical digestion. For example, mastication or chewing, churning and segmentation that we do while chewing the food. So the next process is the chemical digestion. So here the name implies chemical change in the substances that we are going to consume is going to happen. So that is why it is known as the chemical form of digestion. So there is a chemical change in the food. The polymers are broken down into monomers commonly by hydrolysis reactions carried out by enzymes contained within the digestive juices. So in digestive tracts, different type of digestive juices get secreted. By the action of these juices, that complex food that we eat get converted into the simpler monomer substances. So this transformation of the complex substances into the simpler ones is known as chemical digestion. Now whole six processes takes place during digestion. So these process basically can be divided into four processes, but if we elaborate them, then we can divide them into the six processes. So here ingestion, propulsion, uh, can be taken as the ingestion only. So if I divide it into the four main steps, then the steps are ingestion, that is taking up the food, then digestion, that is breakdown, or we could say the chemical breakdown of the substances. Then next process is the absorption, and then finally egestion. So egestion is basically the defecation, the unwanted substances that do not get converted into some useful substance. They are excreted out by the body, so that the GIT um, it can occupy the newly ingested food. So it is also a continuous process to defecate the unwanted undigested substances from the GIT. So the last step is the defecation or ingestion. So ingestion is getting food into the mouth. Then the next process is propulsion, that is the transportation of the food within the GIT. As we all know, the whole GIT is almost is a long tract. So that substance has to be propelled into the next segment to get mixed with the digestive enzymes which get secreted in that particular part. So the key function of the GIT is to propel the food into the next segment. So the propulsion, ingestion is basically the placing the food into the mouth, chewing the food into smaller sub pieces, which is called as mastication, moistening the food with the salivary secretion, swallowing the food, that is the deglutition. So all these processes comes under the ingestion. Then the next process is propulsion. The food that we take in the mouth has to be propelled into the next segment. So that process is known as propulsion. So when the food which by the process of deglutition get entered in the stomach, it stays for some time there, and that time is required to mix up the digestive enzymes that get secreted from the gastrum, that is the gastric juice. So that particular time is required for the process of digestion which take place in the gastrum. Then when that process get completed, then it get propelled into the next part, that is the small intestine. देन द स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में जो भी प्रोसेस है केमिकल, जो भी हमारी जूसेस का मिक्सिंग है, फाइनल जो केमिकल डाइजेशन है, वो प्रोसेस कंप्लीट होता है. देन इट गेट प्रोपेल्ड इन द next segment, that is the large intestine. So propulsion is also the key mechanism to accomplish the whole process of digestion. Then the next is mechanical digestion, that is mixing of food in the mouth by the tongue, churning of food in the stomach, segmentation in the small intestine. So all this is the mechanical digestion. तो केमिकल्स यहाँ पे क्या है, जितने भी हमारे डाइजेस्टिव जूसेस है, डाइजेस्टिव जूसेस कैन एक्ट ऑन द substances that we consume food, बट उनको अप्लाई करने के लिए या अपने केमिकल प्रोसेस को उनको कंप्लीट करने के लिए सरफेस एरिया ज़्यादा चाहिए. तो अगर हम सॉलिड कोई सब्सटेंस बिना चबाए अगर हम उसको निगल लेंगे तो उस पर जितने भी हमारे डाइजेस्टिव जूसेस हैं वो बहुत अच्छे से एक्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं. क्यों एक्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं? क्योंकि सरफेस एरिया कम है. इसीलिए बाय द प्रोसेस ऑफ चर्निंग, जब हम उसको अच्छे से चबाते हैं, च्यूई करते हैं, चर्न करते हैं, या हम जिस प्रोसेस को हम मैकेनिकल डाइजेशन बोलते हैं, उससे क्या होता है कि जितने भी हमारे जो डाइजेस्टिव जूसेस हैं वो बहुत अच्छे से मिक्सअप हो जाते हैं उस बोलस के साथ, और जो केमिकल प्रोसेस है वो अच्छे से पूरा हो सकता है. इसीलिए जो बच्चे या जो लोग बहुत अच्छे से चबा के नहीं खाते हैं उनमें बहुत सारा जो सब्सटेंसेस हैं वो अनडाइजेस्टेड ही एज अ फीसिस जो है वो पास आउट हो जाता है. इसीलिए मैकेनिकल डाइजेशन भी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोसेस है केमिकल डाइजेशन को अच्छे से परफॉर्म कराने के लिए. तो द नेक्स्ट प्रोसेस इज केमिकल डाइजेशन. So each major food group uses different enzymes, that is carbohydrates are broken into simple sugars, proteins are broken into amino acids, fats are broken down into fatty acids and alcohols. So chemical digestion जब अपने अपने digestive juices के द्वारा जो ये complex substances हैं ये simpler substances में chemically change होते हैं, इस process को हम बोलते हैं chemical digestion. Then the next is absorption. अब जो simpler substances बने हैं by the outcome of chemical digestion they get absorbed from the small intestine. So end products of digestion are absorbed in the blood or the lymph. So food must enter mucosal cell and then into the blood or lymph capillaries. तो कैसे absorption होता है कि सबसे पहले जो simpler substances हैं वो जो इंटेस्टाइनल म्यूकोजा है उसमें एंट्री करते हैं, देन वहाँ से दे गेट ट्रांसफर्ड इनटू द इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड और लिम्फ, and then from there to the blood. So this is how the absorbed substance get transported into the blood for the utilization by the different body cells and parts. Now the next part is the defecation, that is the elimination of the indigested food. जो पार्ट अब इनडाइजेस्टेड रह गया है या जो रेमनेंट है केमिकल डाइजेशन के बाद, जो भी अब रेमनेंट पार्ट है, that has to be excreted out from the body, and this process is known as defecation. So these are the 6 processes of digestion. Now the organs of digestive process, or we could say the digestive organs. So here we can divide these organs into the 2 parts, that is the primary digestive organ, which is primarily known as GIT, that is gastrointestinal tract, and the accessory organs. तो जो कंटिन्यूटी में जो ऑर्गन्स हैं फ्रॉम माउथ टू एनस, उनको हम प्राइमरी डाइजेस्टिव ऑर्गन्स बोलते हैं या गैस्ट्रो इंटेस्टाइनल ट्रैक्ट बोलते हैं. ट्रैक्ट बिकॉज दीज ऑल आर इन द कंटिन्यूटी एज द ट्यूबुलर स्ट्रक्चर्स, दैट इज वाई इसको हम ट्रैक्ट बोलते हैं. एंड गैस्ट्रो इंटेस्टाइनल बिकॉज गैस्ट्रम दैट इज स्टमक, इंटेस्टाइन, ये गैस्ट्रो और इंटेस्टाइन का कंटिन्यूटी में बना हुआ पार्ट है, इसीलिए इसको हम बोलते हैं GIT, दैट इज गैस्ट्रो इंटेस्टाइनल ट्रैक्ट. सो दिस इज द प्राइमरी डाइजेस्टिव ऑर्गन. नेक्स्ट इज द accessory organs. So these are the organs which are associated with the GIT to perform their functions. उनको हम बोलते हैं accessory organs. तो gastrointestinal tract या alimentary canal, it is in total 9 meter long. So the structures are, ये start होता है from mouth और oral cavity, then comes the pharynx. तो पहले जो food है that get entered in the mouth, then from mouth to pharynx, then pharynx to esophagus, esophagus to stomach, stomach to duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So duodenum, jejunum and ileum, these are the parts of small intestine. Then from ileum the food get entered in the cecum via the that entry is guarded by the ileocecal valve. So then from ileum the food get entry in the cecum, then cecum to ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum and anum. So this is the whole 9 meter path of GIT, or these all are the primary digestive organs. And the next is accessory structures that are not in the tube path. जो हमने अभी gastrointestinal tract का जो continuity का जो ट्यूबल पार्ट पढ़ा है, उसमें से उसके अलावा जो डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स हैं जो कि एसोसिएटेड है अपनी फंक्शंस के लिए, उनको हम बोलते हैं accessory structures associated with digestive system. That is teeth, tongue, salivary glands, liver, gallbladder and pancreas. So these all are the accessory structures of digestive system. So this is all about the introduction to digestive system. In the next video we will read about the functional organization of the tissues in the gastrointestinal tract. Thank you.